Yo, what's up, guys? We're going to go through some player prop bets. So I try to focus on all the main sports books in these live streams. PrizePicks, Underdog Fantasy. You can see PrizePicks has a pretty good promo on Zion right now. I already locked it in on, gave it out on Twitter, but here's the plays I went with regardless. And remember, when you're betting on League of Legends, okay, it's positively correlated. PrizePicks always gives you the exact same payout. So if you can find value on two players, League of Legends, on the same team to both go over or both go under, that's positively correlated. So, kind of like on PrizePicks, they give you the same payout regardless. So if we want to take CJ Stroud over in, passing yards, probably makes sense to take Nico Collins over. You're getting a 3x payout. It wouldn't make any sense to take, Stroud over and Nico Collins under. This is his receiver. So sometimes you can find some plays that are positively correlated on these platforms. But without further ado, let's just kind of look for some bets on OddsJam. So one strategy that's, I really like is arbitrage betting. So depending on what books you use, again, all these sports books set lines independently. So sometimes when these books get super out of sync with one another, you can bet the over on one book, in this case on DraftKings, the under on another book, in this case Fliff, and make a risk-free profit. This is called arbitrage betting. So Fliff has a max bet size of 250. So this play on Dobbs in the Ravens game, you can see I locked it in for $250. So basically just making a risk-free 583. You bet 65, 60. You can round up to 66 or round down to 65. You bet 65, 66 on DraftKings. You bet 250 on Fliff. You make a risk-free profit of 583. Pretty great. But anyways, why don't we start out with Underdog Fantasy? Let's look for some plays. Let's see what's available. So what do we have open? What do we want to go with? So the first play that's being recommended is St. Brown under 7.5 receptions. So let's take a look at this play. Again, there can be value on any sports book. So it's always beneficial to have more sports books. So if we take a look here at Underdog Fantasy, let's just refresh this. We got a shit ton of plays open on Underdog. Some of them looking pretty good. So let's go here and then allow. And it looks like this play just cashed. Plumlee, we had a double Plumlee. We had Plumlee over 1.5 passing TDs. But anyways, we got some good-looking plays from these live streams. We need Eckler to score tomorrow. But without further ado, let's kind of go here. So the first play OddsJam is recommending, damn, they have some promos too, is Lamar Jackson over 28.5 passing attempts. So again, the way that Underdog Fantasy works, you can see DraftKings, all these sports books have Lamar's over heavily favored, and you can kind of switch your state around on OddsJam. All these states have different sports books. So if you look at all these books, right, every book has Lamar pretty heavily favored to go over 28.5, over 28.5 passing attempts. So on Underdog Fantasy, they're going to give us the same payout, regardless of if we take Lamar's over or under. That's really the key to beating these fixed payout platforms, right? Like on Underdog Fantasy, any 3-pick entry we create, we're always getting a 6x payout. Doesn't matter if we take Lamar's over or if we take Lamar's under. So the reason we want to take Lamar's over is all the books have his over heavily favored. DraftKings is all the way up at -160, Bovada -135, and it looks like books overall have been moving Lamar's line towards the over. So that seems like a good play to go with. Then we have Josh Morrissey under 2.5 shots on goal. So this is an NFL play. And again, it doesn't matter, what sport you're betting on. It's the same thing regardless, right? Underdog Fantasy, they'll give us the same payout. If we take Josh Morrissey, if we take his over or his under, they'll give us the same payout. So as a sharp bettor, we want to look at the books, and all the books have them heavily favored to go under 2.5 shots on goal. So that seems like a good play to go with. And then the final play we have is St. Brown under 7.5 receptions. All the books have his under heavily favored, -140 favorite to go under. So this is really how you get an edge on Underdog Fantasy. You compare the lines on Underdog to those on the books. Because again, Underdog has fixed payouts. They're giving us the same payout if we take St. Brown's over or his under. So we want to take his under because that's what the books have heavily favored. And if you kind of go through the math behind Underdog Fantasy, which I've done in other videos, what you'll kind of see is on Underdog, all you got to do to be profitable, right? They're giving you a 6x payout. So sometimes it's a little confusing, like, oh, and we'll go ahead, we'll lock this in. 3-pick entry on Underdog Fantasy. So the way you beat Underdog is all you got to do to be profitable on Underdog Fantasy is win these over-unders, just like St. Brown, over-under 7.5, above 55% of the time. Now, that's not easy to do, you know? Like, if you think about it, if you don't have an advantage, if you don't have an edge, you're going to win 50% of your picks. You're going to lose 50%. That would be having no advantage, right? You win 50%, you lose 50%. If you let your grandma select St. Brown over under, you know, she's basically picking blindly. It's like flipping a coin, heads versus tails, 50-50. But we need a real advantage. We need to win 55% of our picks or more. So if we win 57% of our picks, just like St. Brown, over under 7.5 receptions, if we win these picks 57% of the time, only losing 43% of our picks, you know, our ROI on Underdog Fantasy long-term is going to be 11%. So all the books have St. Brown heavily favored to go under, which is why this play is winning above 55% of the time and is profitable in an Underdog Fantasy entry. So they also have some promos that we can take a look at. So let's go back here. And we can kind of lock in some other plays. So we got some good picks down, which is great. But, you know, the more bets we can go with, the better. So you can see the next play OddsJam's recommending, and maybe we include this for a promo, is Jordan Fuller over 5.5 tackles plus assists. So what we can do is this betting tool is called the OddsJam Sportsbook screen right here. And all it lets you do is, you know, you can look up a player and kind of see where books have his line set. So again, even if you don't use all these books, you know, all these books have sophisticated models. They're taking bets, moving around lines based on where action's coming in. You treat them as a source of information. So you can see PrizePicks, which is a platform that works basically the same way as Underdog Fantasy. Really the only difference between PrizePicks and Underdog are their payouts, right? So like for a 3-pick entry on PrizePicks, they kind of rip you off. They only give you a 5x payout, which is why you'll notice I never place 3-pick entries on PrizePicks for any of these promos, nothing like that, because it's a shitty payout. They're only giving you 5x. Underdog Fantasy, again, they're giving you 6x, 100 to win 600. So long story short, PrizePicks has the line higher at 6. All these sports books have the line at 5.5 with the over heavily favored. So this is another pick winning about 55% of the time. That looks pretty good in an Underdog Fantasy entry. And they also have some promos. So like BAM, it looks like they're discounting to 22.5 PRAs. So what we can do is we can kind of take a look at BAM's line. I mean, this is a discount. Another benefit of having a bunch of sports books is, you know, all these books are on promos. You know, PrizePicks has a really good promo on Zion for today. Zion PRAs. Underdog Fantasy has a promo on BAM. So, you know, it's kind of shitty, but like I just use all these books, take advantage of the profitable promos. Sometimes there's good promos on PrizePicks. Sometimes it's Underdog. But this seems like a good play to go with. BAM over 22.5 PRAs. All the other books have his line at like, you know, 31.5. So that play seems solid to go with. And then what else do we want to take? So again, the optimal slip type on Underdog Fantasy are these 3-pick entries. So you can see the final pick OddsJam's recommending is Silas Bolden under 4.5 receptions. FanDuel has his line lower at 3.5. Fliff has his under juiced to -135. So this seems like a good play to go with for the BAM promo. Over, under. And again, it's only a max bet size of $10 for most of these promos, but still, you're getting 7 points of value versus the rest of the market, which is a big deal. You know, it's an easy way to get an edge on these books. So there's there's 2 more promos I want to take advantage of on Underdog. So we can just refresh this. So you can see they have a boosted payout on Marte. So we can take a look at this promo next, right? They have Marte's line at 1.5 bases. Fucking had the Diamondbacks last night, which was very depressing, losing in the 9th inning. But what we can do is, again, Underdog Fantasy, basically if you include Marte, they're going to give you a boosted payout. So usually these 2-pick entries have a 3x payout, $10 to win 30. But with this promo boost, they're giving you a 4x payout. So really good promo. But what we want to figure out first is like, okay, is Marte, is he more likely to go over or under, right? Because we can take his under or we can take his over, and we're always going to get the same payout. So again, really the strategy for beating Underdog Fantasy is you want to compare their lines to books, and you can see all the sports books, Caesars, under heavily favored, right? All these books, again, sophisticated models, DraftKings, it's a $10 billion company. Like, you're not going to spin up a better model than DraftKings and Fliff and Caesars. So you kind of use all these books. All these books have slightly different models. They're taking slightly different action. So you kind of look throughout the market. It's clear Marte, he's more likely to go under. So for this promo, we'd rather take his under. We'd rather take him lower, under 1.5 total bases. But then we still need one more pick to pair with this. For the promo boost, we want to go with 2 picks for these 4x payout boosts. So we're getting a boosted payout on the World Series. We want to take him under. And then what we can do is we can just really find some other play that seems decent. So Kyle Duggar over 5.5 tackles plus assists. Usually we wouldn't want to go with this play, right? This play is in yellow. It's not winning above 55% of the time, only 54.33. But again, Underdog Fantasy is running a promo. So they're giving us a boosted payout to 4x as opposed to 3x. So this seems like a pretty, good play that we can go with. So we'll head over to PrizePicks in a second. But there's one final promo, 100K. So I have no idea how many people are going to enter this, but basically Underdog Fantasy gives away $100,000 if you bet this. So, whatever. We can make a little play with this as well. So we can take Mayers over. We can take Yagao's over. And again, I follow a very data-driven approach, I don't think I can ever create a better model than the sports books. It's almost impossible. I don't think anyone can. Again, these sports books, they've invested millions of dollars into their data feeds, ability to set lines. They're taking bets, moving around lines based on where action's coming in. You can see all these books are moving around lines. If DraftKings notices all their sharp customers or profitable customers start taking St. Brown's under, they'll move lines towards the under. So books are always reacting to bets coming in, injuries, stuff like that. Everything's reflected in sportsbook odds. If all the sharps are coming in on, St. Brown's under, books will move lines towards his under. But anyways, here's what we can go with, just 3 picks for the 100K promo. And then let's head over to PrizePicks. Or we can take a look at Fliff. We can look at a bunch of different sports books. Again, the more books you have access to, the better. So ParlayPlay is another good book to have. It works very similar to Underdog Fantasy. Again, the only thing that's really different between PrizePicks, Underdog, the strategy is the same between PrizePicks, Underdog. It's just on Underdog Fantasy, 3-pick entries. They give you a 6x payout. PrizePicks, it's only 5x. So it just kind of matters how many picks you want to go with. But again, all these books run different promos. They have different lines from one another. So I recommend having as many of these books as possible, like ParlayPlay. They only have $60 max bet sizes on this platform. I'm up over $5,000 profit. Only been using it for 5 or 6 months, maybe 4 months. I don't know, something like that. 20% ROI. So the more books, you're using, the better. But anyways, we can go over to ParlayPlay and we can just kind of see what they have going on. So again, here looks like a great play on ParlayPlay. Jacob Chitron, over 2.5 shots on goal. So again, we just want to follow the market data. All these books have them heavily favored to go over. And this is the benefit of having multiple sports books is ParlayPlay, they give you a bit better payouts than Underdog Fantasy. They have a 6x, parlay, which pays out 40x, you'll notice Underdog Fantasy, it only goes up to 5 picks. They don't have a 6-pick option. So on ParlayPlay, what's optimal are these 6-pick parlays. If you kind of go through the math, just like we did for Underdog, the optimal slip type is 3-pick entries. You have to win above 55% of your plays to be profitable. On ParlayPlay, it's 6-pick entries, and you have to win above 53.92, something like that, percent of your plays to be profitable. And you can see there's some pretty dang good plays available on ParlayPlay. So we'll look at ParlayPlay, then we can head over. I just kind of bounce around from platform to platform. So like we're literally creating our own discount here. ParlayPlay lets you bump a line just once per day, but this is a promo. Kind of the same way PrizePicks is running this discount on Zion. Underdog had a discount on Bam. On ParlayPlay, you can pick your own player, and make your own little discount. If you want to take Bryce Young's under, you can bump him to, under 37 as opposed to under 35.5. But anyways, let's take a look at this. So we want to look at passing attempts, and we want to look at Bryce Young. So you can see like PrizePicks, Underdog, they have his line at 34.5, right? All these other books, DraftKings, Caesars, they have his line at 34.5, and they have the under favored, right? You want to consider the juice as well. Like on ParlayPlay, we have to win over 53.9% of our picks to be profitable. So all these sports books, DraftKings, they not only have his line lower, ParlayPlay's at 35.5. These books are at 34.5. They also have the under favored, right? They're saying, hey, he's more likely to go under as opposed to over. So this seems like a good play to go with. First play we're going to lock in is Bryce Young under 35.5 passing attempts. Next play, Karl Anthony Towns, over 32.5 points plus rebounds plus assists. So again, there can be value in any market. I don't give a shit what I'm betting on, right? Like OddsJam is a very simple tool. There's tens of thousands of lines available on all these sports books, right? Like if you look at Underdog, I mean, especially with the NBA back, there is limitless stuff you can bet. I mean, look at all these lines, right? But most of these plays suck, right? Most of these plays don't have an edge. There's no discrepancy. There's no value in the market. So all OddsJam is doing, is scanning all these lines and pointing out, hey, this play looks interesting. So if you look at Karl Anthony Towns, most books have his line, first of all, at, Caesars, they have his line at 33.5. Fanatics, they just moved to 34.5. So this sportsbook screen, it'll highlight line movements in green and red. But you can see all these books have his line at 33.5, 34.5. ParlayPlay sitting at 32.5, or ParlayPlay, sorry, is at 33.5. All these books, did they bump that higher? Yeah, so you can see they already bumped it up. They were at 32.5. They just bumped it up to 33.5. If you look at the sportsbook screen, which kind of adjusts in real time. Or no, am I looking at the wrong player? So let's go back here. So you can see they just bumped them up to 33.5. So we're not even going to be able to get this play down. So again, like speed is important in sports betting. Like these books will move lines quickly. So, you need to be on top of it and get these plays down quickly. The best bets, they're not going to last forever. But anyways, you can see there's a shit ton of plays available on ParlayPlay. So that's the benefit of having multiple sports books, is you really never know where the value is going to be on a given day. So next we can go to this player, Jacob Checherin. We want to take him over 2.5 shots on goal. So this is a play for today. And again, these are 40x payouts. So you're not going to win every bet, right? Like, I mean, that's probably pretty obvious. These are 40x payout parlays we're placing. And it can seem like, you're losing a lot. Like this is a parlay only sports book. You can't even place one bet. You can't place straight bets. We can't just take Bryce Young under 35.5 passing attempts. You need at least, whatever. You need at least 6, or you need at least 2 picks, but the optimal slip type are these 6-pick entries. So next, if we go to this player, Jacob, we can take his over. Again, I follow a very data-driven approach. The data never lies long-term. All the books have them heavily favored to go over 2.5 shots on goal. Some books have the over a little more favored than others. if you only use PrizePicks, you're missing out on this profitable bet. It's available on ParlayPlay, which also has better payouts than PrizePicks. So having more books is better than having less sports books. So the next play we want to go with is Tyus Jones under 7.5, right? Same strategy. ParlayPlay gives you the same payout. You take him over, you take him under, they're going to give you the same payout, right? All the sports books have his under heavily favored, right? It's not just one sports book, Pinnacle right here, which is known to be the sharpest or the smartest sports book. They have his line all the way at -161. So his under is very heavily favored. So we have Julius Randle over 20.5 points. So this is the next play we can go to. Anthony Edwards over 3.5 assists. That's the next play we can go to. And make a little slip. Then we'll head over to PrizePicks. So you can see there's just a ton of plays, right? We have Tony Pollard under 3.5 receptions. So, I mean, we could sit here all day and place parlay play slips. Again, get down the volume. If you're the best poker player in the world, you don't just go to the table, play one hand, and if you lose, leave, right? You want to get down as many hands as possible. If you have an edge, you want to place a lot of bets. Like sports betting, you're going to have bad beats. Everyone has bad beats. Everyone has lucky wins. If you had the Rangers yesterday, you had a lucky win. If you had the Diamondbacks, you had a bad beat. So you need to place a lot of bets to see if, you're going to be profitable, make money long-term. Over the course of the long run, if there's a coin that's 53% to show up on heads, it'll show up heads, right? You flip that coin a million times, it's definitely going to show up heads more if it's 53% weighted to show up on heads. It's the same thing in sports betting. You want to place a ton of bets that all have an edge, and you'll see over the course of the long run, you're going to make money, right? $5,000 in profit. Not every bet I'm winning. Obviously, these are 6-pick parlays. Not every day I'm winning on parlay play, but over every month, I've been profitable. You just got to let the math, work itself out. But anyways, what we can do is we can go back here. And I mean, there's a ton more plays on parlay play that we can fire off. But maybe we could, I just kind of bounce around from tool to tool. Sometimes there's really good plays on Underdog. Now, pretty slow. There's a couple plays, but we already hit out a lot of the good ones. So we can head over to PrizePicks. So let's take a look at PrizePicks. And we can go over to the NFL. And sometimes there's pretty good value in these TD markets. So like, for example, a lot of books, they only have one-way markets on touchdown scores. But I just kind of pull up the OddsJam Sportsbook screen. So like if you take a look at Josh Jacobs, right? Wow, this play actually seems quite good. You can see Josh Jacobs is heavily favored to not score a touchdown. Again, like the data never lies long-term. Everything is baked into the market. If Josh Jacobs should be favored to score a touchdown, he would be. Every sharp bettor would go bet him at underdog odds. You can get him, plus 121 on Pinnacle. If he should be favored to score a touchdown, every sharp bettor would go and hammer his over, right? And sportsbooks would drop the lines. The same way the price of a stock is based on supply and demand. Every day, investors wake up. They think, is this stock overvalued or undervalued? And where supply and demand meets, that's the fair price. It's the same thing here, right? Like if all the sharp bettors thought his over should be favored, they could go bet him at plus 120 underdog odds until his over's favored. So when you're betting with your gut, it also means you think you're smarter than everyone else because sportsbook odds are based on, where action's coming in. And you can see it's not just one sportsbook that has Jacobs as an underdog to score a touchdown. It's every single sportsbook has him as an underdog to score a touchdown. And you can see like FanDuel and PointsBet, they have what's called a one-way market. They only have odds on Josh Jacobs to score a touchdown. They don't have odds on him to not score a touchdown. But obviously, you can kind of assume if they're giving you plus 120 on him to score a touchdown, that's underdog odds, right? That's plus money, underdog odds. His under would be around minus 160, just like Pinnacle has it, or minus 165. So Josh Jacobs is heavily favored to not score a touchdown. So it's like, okay, that play seems good, pretty good. But let's see what else the Fantasy Optimizer has for us. And we've hit some of these all unders as well. So we can look up Walker next, right? You can see Walker. Kenneth Walker is also heavily favored to not score a touchdown. So it seems crazy, right? Obviously, these are some of the best players, but my assumption is PrizePicks leaves these lines up because most recreational bettors, I mean, it's very rare to see people, like most people love to take people to score a touchdown, not to not score a touchdown. So you can see Kenneth Walker, right? He's heavily favored to not score a touchdown. So all the value usually in these TD score lines is on the under. So next we can look up Keenan Allen, right? He's heavily favored to not score a touchdown as well. But obviously, if you only were to take one of these plays, you'd prefer to take the play on Josh Jacobs, right? PrizePicks, they give you the same payout. Any 2-pick entry, you're getting a 3x payout. So you want to find plays with the highest possible win rate. So for Josh Jacobs, he's an even bigger favorite to not score. He's a -165, -160 favorite to not score. Whereas, for Keenan Allen, according to the data, and again, the data never lies long-term, he's -145, -150. So both of these plays look good, but if you were to only pick one, you'd probably prefer the play on Josh Jacobs because, again, all the sports books are saying, yeah, he's favored to not score. So we can look up Kelsey. Kelsey's favored to score on some books, to not score on other books. So this play, it's not really clear. So this isn't a play we want to touch with a 10-foot pole. Pacheco, he's slightly favored to not score. You can see all these books have him as a slight favorite to not score. But again, you want to see spots where books have an under really heavily favored. The higher possible, you want to find plays with the highest possible win rate. Travis Etienne, -130, very small favorite to not score. So that doesn't seem like a good play to go with. So we have Barkley. Barkley's heavily favored to not score. You can see he's all the way up at +135 on FanDuel. You look at Breece Hall, heavily favored to not score. But you wouldn't want to include both of these picks in the same slip. So I'm just going to take Barkley. Barkley play looked like it was better. Jonathan Taylor. So Jonathan Taylor, really no value, right? Fliff has the same odds on the over and the under. I explained before, on PrizePicks Underdog, you have to win 55. You got to be able to win these over-unders 55% of the time to be profitable. So Barkley, Keenan Allen, they're all huge favorites to not score just according to the market data. So those plays are better to go with. So Jonathan Taylor, really no value. If we look up Tyreek Hill, Tyreek Hill has been scoring like a madman, no value, right? Not, some books have him slightly favored. Most books have him slightly favored to score. You can see Raheem is favored to not score. So that seems like a halfway decent play to go with. But anyways, kind of getting bored looking through the touchdown scores. The best play looked like Saquon. Because if you go back here, if you go to Saquon, right, you're going to notice FanDuel and DraftKings have him as a +130 underdog to score a touchdown. That means his under would probably be, if you look at Pinnacle, they have him as a -150 favorite to not score, but they have his over. FanDuel's more bearish on Big Barkley scoring a touchdown, right? They have him as a +135 underdog. Pinnacle is only +114. So FanDuel's saying we think he's even less likely to score than Pinnacle does. And Pinnacle, again, is known to be the sharpest, smartest bookmaker, Pinnacle. So FanDuel would probably have this line around -190, -200. So literally the worst bet of all time would be Saquon to score a touchdown. FanDuel has him at +135, right? So you can see some new bets showing up on Underdog. So this play seems halfway decent, right? So this is a hockey play for tonight. So hopefully this play cashes, and then, we'll have all unders tomorrow. But if we go ahead and we look at pass rank, right, all the books have him heavily favored, right, to go over 4.5 shots on goal. Over, right? -145 favorite. So all the books are saying, hey, he's a lot more likely to score as opposed to not score. So this seems like a good play on PrizePicks, right? It all boils down to finding a bunch of picks that are winning above 54.25% of the time. Again, on PrizePicks, I got all my spreadsheets up. On PrizePicks, you got to win, right? It all boils down to win rate. They always give you the same damn payout. If you can win your props 56, only losing 44% of your picks, your ROI is going to be 11.9%. So you just need to be above 54.25. So again, what you want to do is ruthlessly compare the lines on PrizePicks to the market, and you'll find a bunch of player props. And again, PrizePicks has me heavily limited, max bet size of only $25, but all these plays seem good. So an unders parade. And that's kind of like the logic of why you want to go with these bets. So I just kind of bounce around from book to book. So like, again, like I really recommend you look into arbitrage betting. This is how I started sports betting. And it's really great. So we can go through a quick example. This will just take like 5 seconds, but I kind of like to show how the math works out. So this is Fliff, and then this is DraftKings. So Fliff has a max bet size of 250, right? That's the max bet size, 250. As you can see right here, risk 250. So what I did was I saw this play on Dobbs. There's a huge discrepancy, right? Fliff has him plus 220 to score. All these books set lines independently. So essentially arbitrage is out of the thousands of lines on all these sports books, right? FanDuel has 50,000 lines up. OddsJam is reading in all this data. And when these books get so out of sync, you can bet equal and opposite outcomes in over and an under on 2 different books, in this case, DraftKings and Fliff, to make a risk-free profit. So if we go here to Fliff, right, 250 is the max bet size on Fliff. So the calculator tells me, hey, bet 65.60 on Dobbs to score a touchdown, on DraftKings at plus 390, right? The odds matter in sports betting. Like getting over 4.5 is different than over 5.5. You know, getting minus 120 is different than getting plus 120. This stuff really matters long term. So, you know, if you kind of look at FanDuel, right, it's like if you look at player rebounds, I mean, this is kind of a good example, is for Vukovic or, you know, for Kobe White, you know, the difference between over 3.5 and over 4.5 rebounds is minus 102 to plus 188. So like these are big jumps. Over 2.5 is minus 225 to minus 102. So these are big jumps, right? You know, in the odds. So you need to be price conscious. The same way a day trader or an investor, they're so focused on what's the price of this investment, right? What price? What price? You know, what price am I buying this stock? It's the same thing in sports betting, like price matters. And arbitrage is when you can, again, it's possible because all these books set lines independently. When you can bet the over on one book, the under on another book, make a risk-free profit. So Fliff has a max bet size of 250. That's literally the max you can bet on this platform. So I put in 250. The calculator tells me, hey, bet this on DraftKings. I do recommend, if you're arbitrage betting, round your numbers. So like round on DraftKings to 65. Don't bet 65.60 and freak out the sports books. But for the sake of example, whatever, let's say you bet 65.60, right? And you just follow the calculator exactly. So if he scores a touchdown, we lose $250 on Fliff, right? In arbitrage, always one bet's going to lose, one bet's going to win. So if he scores, we lose on Fliff, we lose $250. But on DraftKings, we're up 65.60, which is what the calculator told us to bet as our hedge bet, times 3.9. What the fuck? We're up 256. So we make $6 in profit, day trading the books. But what if he doesn't score a touchdown? Well, in this case, I lose 65.60 on DraftKings, but on Fliff, I'm up 250 times 100 over 350. I bet 250 at minus 350 odds, so my profit is $71. So regardless of what happens, I make $583 in profit. And then this spreadsheet's just rounding up to 6. But, you know, you're day trading the books, inefficiencies in the market to make risk-free profits. So when I'm using OddsJam, you know, I'll kind of place some fantasy bets, but who the fuck cares? This is free money. You might as well take it if it's available. I'll head over to the arbitrage tool, see what's available. So like, here's a crazy play. Another arbitrage play between FanDuel and Fliff. Huge discrepancy in Merrill Kelly strikeouts. So I will say, to be a great arbitrage bettor, you need to move quickly. So like if we want to go here, we want to go to Merrill Kelly. right? You want to go to pitcher props as quickly as possible. You want to know how to navigate these books. 6+ strikeouts. This is what you want to bet, right? Over 5.5. You can see his strikeout line is 4.5. So you may be thinking like, oh, OddsJam is wrong. It's saying his strikeout line is 5.5. No, you have to look at the alternate strikeout line, right? So over 5.5 is the same as 6+ strikeouts. So, right, this is what you'd want to bet. So you can see FanDuel has a max bet size of $750 on this, but Fliff has a max bet size of $250. So this is a risk-free $15 in profit. Bet $250 on Fliff, maybe round your number to $165 on FanDuel. You make $15 in risk-free profit. What's better than that? So arbitrage betting is great, but obviously it's not the funnest thing in the world. You know, you're kind of making it's risk-free money. It's how I started sports betting. It's how I grew my bankroll. It's how I made my first $40,000 sports betting with arbitrage. But, oh shit. It looks like, did official starting lineups just come out? So if we look at Underdog, you can see official starting lineups just came out. This is usually what causes line movement and good bets to occur. Remember, all sports books set lines independently, so they all need to update odds whenever lineups come out, and sometimes they screw up. Where the fuck is he? So we want Jordan Montgomery over 3.5 strikeouts. You can see this line's not on PrizePicks. It's not on Underdog Fantasy, right? All the sports books have him super heavily favored to go over 3.5 strikeouts. And it seems like this, occurred essentially when official starting lineups for the Diamondbacks are released. So maybe this lineup is more prone to striking out, right? Or the order makes it more likely that Montgomery goes over 3.5 strikeouts, right? So a lot of line movements you'll see. Books just ripped Montgomery towards his over 3.5 strikeouts. Boom, boom. All the books ripped his odds higher. So clearly the market thinks this lineup means that Montgomery's more likely to go over 3.5 strikeouts. Kind of like after an earnings report, if a company makes a lot of money and they have a really good quarter or whatever, a new product that crushes it, you'll see the stock price go up. The market is reflecting new information that the company is more valuable because they had a good earnings report or new product launch or whatever. But anyways, this play seems crazy good. And we want to find some other picks to go with. Oh, baby. We have David Njoku under 16.5 longest reception. All the books have his line at 15.5 with the under favored, right? You want to consider the juice. So if you look at DraftKings, again, on ParlayPlay, all you got to do to be profitable is win over 53.9% of your picks. So if you look at, this player, again, knowing how to navigate these sports books quickly, move quickly, is going to be really useful when you're arbitrage betting, everything like that. So we want to look at longest reception. They have his line at 15.5 with the under super heavily favored. So we're not only getting a yard of value relative to the market, but we're also getting, oh my gosh, Bo Nix under 260.5 passing yards. We're literally creating our own Taco Tuesday. If we look at Bo Nix, all the books have his line at 250.5, 249.5. We're getting 260.5 on ParlayPlay. We're creating our own Taco Tuesday. This game starts in 10 minutes. Garrett Miller over 2.5 receptions. Not a ton of books post odds on college football player reception markets, but you can see they do. So Garrett Miller heavily favored on Fliff to go over. Stafford over in passing attempts. Grayson Allen over in PRAs. So what we can do, and sometimes these longest receptions, you may be like, why does this bet occur now? Maybe the weather changed. Who knows, right? Grayson Allen over. I think Booker's still out. Mitch Garver under 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. So this play pairs pretty nicely, actually, with Montgomery. Or no, it doesn't. They're on the same team. What am I saying? So here, we just took advantage of line movement to get down some really good picks on ParlayPlay. I've already hit my full game limit on Garrett Miller. So this play I'm not going to be able to include. Again, this is what sucks about these books is Santos under 5.5 kicking points, right? So I literally just follow the data. I don't fucking care if it's the NFL, whatever. I just want to find the best possible picks with the highest edge, the biggest line discrepancies versus the market. The data never lies long term. $60 max bet size, and you can see they already moved the play on Montgomery. So I missed it. You can see they bumped him up to 4. So again, like great bets, they just don't last forever. But whatever, we're almost done with this play, so we can just go to Brian Robinson. And we want to take him under 10.5 rushing attempts. And it's frustrating to miss a good bet, but that's just kind of how it goes sometimes. Like, even when you're arbitrage betting, like lines will move on you, you'll miss them. Just kind of part of the game. You can see that arbitrage bet on Merrill Kelly's already gone. But kind of as lineups come out, you'll notice a lot of good bets. Again, all these books set lines independently. So every time official starting lineups, like shit like this is what moves around the market. If, Donovan Mitchell doesn't end up playing, the Cavs money line has to move. I mean, I assume it already has been moving. Like if we go to NBA odds, like this is what leads mainly to profitable bets is if we go to the Cavs game, take a sip of my Fiji water. The Pacers are now favored tonight. I don't think they opened as favorites. I mean, I could be wrong, but if you go to the Pacers game, right? Let's look at the line movement chart. The Pacers were underdogs. They were plus 130 7 hours ago. My assumption is when it was announced that Donovan Mitchell is probably not playing, you can see like lines rip towards the Pacers as favorites, right? They go from being plus 135 underdogs to minus 140 favorites. So imagine if, you were the first one to see that information and were able to get them plus 135. Now Donovan Mitchell's out and the Pacers are minus 140 favorites. So following the line movements, that's something that's reflected in the odds that sportsbooks are putting out. So damn, some esports bets just showed up on Underdog Fantasy, it looks like. So it's like, yo, what's going on here? Whoa. A lot of bets showing up. So what the fuck is going on? So we can go to League of Legends, player kills. And now I have too many tabs open. So what I got to do is get rid of this and go here. And let's take a look at this player, Weiwei. So here, there's only 2 data points. I mean, this would be a great spot to middle bet. So middle betting means bet the over 4.5, bet the under 6. If Weiwei has 5, you win both bets. If Weiwei has 6, you win your over 4.5, you lose or you don't lose, you push your under 6. But there's only 2 data points, right? So these plays I tend to avoid. If there's only 2 data points, it's not really clear, like, yo, who's screwing up? Whereas for this player, Noah, I mean, look at this middle bet. Over 4.5, hit him under 6.5. All the other books have his line at 6.5. Granted, it's only 2 data points. I'm not trying to act like it's, oh, wow. But this bet will not last a long time. So we want to take Noah over 4.5. Boom. So we got our first good play down. This plays in the same game. You're not going to be able to bet things in the same game. But look at Ezekiel Elliott, right? PrizePicks, ParlayPlay have his line at 8. You can see that right here. All the other books have his under heavily favored. So we want this under, right? Under 8.5 rushing attempts. And then we want Denny under. What did we want? Under 10.5 rebounds plus assists. So again, like we want to see discrepancies as sharp bettors. Discrepancies mean value, right? His line is 8. All the other books have his line at 8, 7.5 for Elliott. So we found a play, with an edge. So Semien over 1.5 hits plus runs plus RBIs. So I'm trying to move quickly on some of these plays. So I already have this play on Fuller. In Underdog Fantasy, they literally won't even let me bet something. So again, like I literally treat my sports betting, which I think everyone should, like you're trying to make a portfolio of profitable bets. Not every bet's going to win. Oh my gosh. So we want Brunson over 2.5 rebounds. So I want to get rid of this, right? He's heavily favored to go over. Again, Underdog Fantasy is another one of these fixed payout websites. Give you the same payout if you take his over or under. So now we have a 5-pick insured entry. Boom. Amazing esports play, which you could middle bet with Jock Market, right? If you wanted to, go to Jock Market, another book that's going to give you, all these books have lucrative deposit bonuses. You should want to use as many as possible, right? PrizePicks cut my betting limits lower. Some people bitch, they complain. Yeah, I'm mad PrizePicks cut down my betting limits, but just sign up for ParlayPlay. They give you $100 for free, right? Why not? You get $100 for free for just signing up. And, look for some value there. So if you use Jock Market too, I mean, that's crazy. Hit him over 4.5, under 6.5. If he has 5 or 6, you win both bets. Imagine if an NBA player, his rebound line was 4.5 on Underdog, 6.5 on PrizePicks. You'd be like, that's crazy. And you have to remember, like, 4.5 versus 6.5 is an insane difference. This player, right, his line is centered around 4.5, 5, 6. So, like, the probability he has 5 or 6 is really high, right? That's where his line is centered around. Most of these players, it just follows like a normalish distribution. He's not going to have 15. He's not going to have 0, right? Like, so the difference between like Connor McDavid, usually around 3.5, 4.5 shots on goal. There's a very, like, he's not going to have 10 shots. He's not going to have 0. There's a very high probability he ends on 4. That's where his line is centered around. That's like his average. So we got down a good play on Underdog. And again, like speed is important. Day trading the books. And then I just kind of bounce around from platform to platform. Check out the arbitrage tool. Kind of the same arbitrage bets. This one on Dobbs is still available. Again, arbitrage is free money. Like you got to be taking advantage of it. It's literally risk-free money, which is crazy when you think about it. But hey, no complaints. So some good bets showing up. Again, like with Donovan Mitchell questionable, that's going to move lines around a lot. Money line, the point spread, all the other player props, who's going to be scoring, who's not going to be scoring. So there'll probably be some good opportunity in that game. So what we can do, though, is Underdog Fantasy, again, they had discrepancies in a couple of these League of Legends games. So what we can do is we already have this play on Noah, which was insane. There's some good middle betting opportunities. But, like, look at this player. Well, this play is actually kind of interesting. So if you look at this player, Yike, right? Again, PrizePicks has me at fucking terrible betting limits. His line's at 4.5. Underdog Fantasy has his line at 5.5. So what we could do is we could middle bet this, and you can see they have a promo on Zion as well. So if we go to Yike, right, I can take him under 5.5. If I want to middle bet this. And then this play looked insane. Another crazy early discrepancy, right? Underdog has his line at 3. So I don't give a shit what I'm betting on, right? Like, I just want to find plays with an edge. You want to see discrepancies. If all books have the line at the exact same level, you're just betting random shit with your gut. You're just like everyone else. You're not going to make money. You don't even understand what's going on. Or if you're not line shopping, right? If you're just betting random shit, like imagine taking this guy over 4.5 on hot streak. You'd be the biggest idiot in the world. You could have gotten him over 3. You just got ripped off, right? Like you're not going to make money as a day trader if you have to buy Facebook at $450, or an investor if you have to pay 1.5 times more than everyone. So literally the baseline for even being reasonably profitable sports betting is you have to make sure you're not getting ripped off and getting decent prices. Or imagine if you took this guy's under on Underdog, under 3.5 when the books have him at 4.5. So those would be great plays to, again, middle bet. But Jock Market has the line at 4. Middle betting's fucking boring. So maybe we're just like, okay, let's take this guy over 3. And then we can go back here. And again, books are always releasing odds for the upcoming day. Their models are getting out of sync. Players are getting injured. Lines are moving, which is why sports betting is amazing. Like, I love it. It's a 24/7 thing. There's good bets all the time. So here's another player, right? Bin over 6. PrizePicks, Jock Market, Hot Streak have his line at 6.5. It's like, whoa. So we can go to esports. Again, it's really just like a speed thing, right? So we take a look at this player. And unfortunately, Underdog doesn't even let you bet players on the same team or the same game in esports, which sucks because there's some good correlation. PrizePicks does. That's a benefit of PrizePicks. PrizePicks gives me the shittiest betting limits, but esports correlation you can take advantage of, right? Look here. All the other books have his line at 6.5, 7. It's like, okay, this is a no-brainer. Take him over 6. Day trading the books to make money. So what do we want to look at? Tucker under 3.5 rebounds in the Suns game. So this can be the final pick we go with. And then we have a nice little 3-pick entry, right? So we want to take him under 3.5 rebounds. And again, like the best arbitrage bets, positive EV bets, everything like that, like you want to move quickly because you're taking advantage of inefficiencies in the market, discrepancies. Like I can guarantee you, if you go look at this player, Noah, right? All the books had his line. Whoops. Right? Like if you go look at this player's line later, it's not going to be 4.5 when all the other books are at 6.5. Other people will take advantage of it, right? Like you can see did they remove his line? So it's still available at 4.5 if you want to bet it. But anyways, next we can look at this Zion promo boost. You can see Underdog Fantasy just running promos. Promos are the easiest money you're going to make. So Zion's line is 32.5 points plus rebounds. So what we can do is we can go to the OddsJam Sportsbook screen and just be like, okay, points plus rebounds is we can take a look at Zion, see if we want to take his, is there value on his over? Is there value on his under? So PrizePicks has his line lower at 32. Doesn't really seem like sportsbooks have his over or his under really heavily favored. Most books have his over slightly favored, over 32.5. So maybe we take his over, whatever. We already have his over from the PrizePicks promo too. And then what we can do is we can just take, again, like this is only a $10 max bet size promo. No need to like spend all day thinking about it. Let's take Razoric over 3.5. The other books have his line at 4.5. Just picking up some value in the market. $10 max bet size. Again, we're getting a boosted payout. This is what we can go with. Boom. Maybe PrizePicks is running another promo. Maybe today's just a good fucking day. Nope, they're still running the same promo. So then we can go back to the arbitrage tool, see if there's any good arbitrage bets. Here's one, right? Like Wizards-Grizzlies game between DraftKings and FanDuel. Head over to FanDuel quickly. Again, what's important is knowing how to navigate these books quickly. So like we want to move to FanDuel quick. You want to go to the NBA. You want to go to the Wizards game. Just kind of like knowing how to search to get down these arbitrage bets. Sometimes there's some on Fliff. Sometimes it's DraftKings. So where is this player, right? Under 10.5. See what your max bet size is. Put it into the arbitrage calculator. Boom, go over to DraftKings, make a risk-free profit. You make risk-free money that you get back today. There is nothing better than a great arbitrage bet. It is risk-free money, right? It's amazing. So there's some good bets on Fliff. CJ McCollum, over 4.5 assists. All the books have his over heavily favored, right? So all these books make money by charging a spread. They're like stockbrokers, right? So you can, and this is arbitrage too. This is arbitrage between Flip and Bet Online. So if you use Bet Online, right? Bet Online has a ton of arbitrage plays. But if you go here, right? Here it is, right? You could bet, again, Flip, max bet size 250, make a risk-free profit of 1240. But also, whenever arbitrage exists, you know one of these bets has to be profitable, right? You can't have the ability to bet an over on one book, the under on another book at two different prices. Price is what matters, right? Here, the odds are so different between these two books. You can bet the over on one book, the under on another book, and make a risk-free profit. So by definition, one of these bets has to be profitable. Either the over at minus 115 or the under at plus 128. One of these bets has to be profitable, right? You can't have the ability to bet the over at minus 115, the under at plus 128, and make free money, and neither of the bets is profitable. And it's clear looking at other sports books, Pinnacle, sharpest bookmaker in the world, they have the line all the way up at minus 136. Like it's clear, okay, Flip at minus 115, like that's the good side. That's what we want to be on. Just looking at the other books in the market, it's clear that's the side with value that will have a positive ROI long term. So crazy. We got down some good promos. So what we can do is see how my bets are doing. Fuckers. I wanted Maryland to win. But anyways, we can go back here. And you can see there's some damn good bets on ParlayPlay right now. So we can kind of clear out the board. Again, it's a volume game. I literally just follow the data because I know I'm going to win long term. I place a ton of these 6x payouts, 40x payout ones, because I know that's what's mathematically optimal. And I just let the math work itself out. So are we already on Cade? Nope. So we can go back here. And we can follow the data and lock in another 6-pick entry. So Tua over, Cunningham under. Stafford over. And again, this platform only has a max bet size. Like some people will be like, oh, this is too many bets. It's like ParlayPlay only has a max bet size of $60. So even if you place one bet a day, like if your ROI is even 20% on ParlayPlay, which would be crazy, you're getting a 20% ROI on your bets. If you're only placing one bet a day for $60, 12%. Horrible. Quickly over 17.5. All the books have his line at 18.5. So we really just want to place a bunch of bets, let the math work itself out. So here's our 5th pick. I think we already bet this, but we'll have to see. I forget sometimes what I even bet. So we'll kind of clear out the board. So I already hit my limit on Mitch Garver. So it's like, okay, we'll get rid of that. Justice Hill under 29.5 rushing yards. All the books have his line at 26.5 with the under favored. It's like, what are they doing? So 6 picks with an edge. We go ahead. We lock it in for a max of $60. Matthew Stafford isn't valid. So you got to deal with this bullshit of bets getting pulled down, whatever. But you can see there's just a ton of plays available. Garcia under 1.5 bases. He is not a guy I'd want to be fading, but hey, again, a lot of it's a mindset too, right? Once you start following the data and making money, you start making money arbitrage betting, you'll never look at sports betting the same, right? You're just going to know exactly how to make money. So you're not going to do stupid shit like just randomly bet stuff. Right? So Diggs, his under is heavily favored. ParlayPlay's a platform. They give you the same payout if you take a player's over or under, just like Josh Jung, right? They're going to give us the same payout if we take Jung's over or under. So we want to take the under because, again, that's what's heavily favored on all the books. All the books have him as like a minus 140 favorite to go under. DeRozan under 26.5 points plus rebounds. Sports betting's fun. It's especially fun when you're up thousands of dollars of profit on all these books. So what else is available? So we have 3 good picks. Maybe we make one final slip on parlay play. Clear out the value we can in the market. Mitch Garver, we're already on. It's just like kind of hard to remember sometimes, like, what have I already gone with? So Grayson Allen, over 12.5 points plus rebounds. I think I took Allen points plus rebounds plus assists, so I still think I'm going to be able to bet this. We already bet this play on Jacob Chicherin. Karl Anthony Towns. So if we take a look at this, like, it's nothing super complicated. Like, sports betting is just, people are so data driven in their day-to-day lives, but for some reason they just bet random shit in sports betting. Like, it's really just about ruthlessly following the data, letting the math work itself out, the law of large numbers. So you look at this player, right, Karl Anthony Towns, every sports book, like, you have hundreds of data points. They all have his line at 11.5. Rebounds plus assists, Karl Anthony Towns. PrizePicks, all the other fantasy sites. Like, why do you think you're smarter than everyone else if you're betting random shit with your gut? Why? Like, why do you think you're smarter than the market? Like, almost nobody can make money day trading. Why do you think you're smarter than all the hedge funds, all the investors? Like, Facebook stock is the price it is now because that's what investors, that's where supply and demand meets of the entire world. This is the fair price, right? Nobody knows if Facebook's going to go up or down tomorrow. Otherwise, they'd put all their money in Facebook stock if they knew it was going to go up. So Valanciunas, over 10 rebounds. So how many more picks do we need? So we need one more pick. Okay. So let's go here and we can refresh this. Sometimes new really good plays show up. Like, we already saw that pick on Quickly. I think we already bet. So part of it is just like, oh shit, what did I already bet? Durin, under 25.5 points plus rebounds. What do we want to go with? Grayson Allen, Marcus Smart. Valanciunas over 10 rebounds is fine. There's probably some positive correlation as well with Karl Anthony Towns over. No, we don't have any picks from the same game here. So, okay. 6-pick parlay. 40x payout. Throw out another dart. All these plays have an edge. Let the math work itself out, right? Boom, boom, boom. This week, this year, $5,000 profit. So let's go back here. And, you can see there's some good EV bets on Fliff. Depending on the books you use, there's probably some good arbitrage bets. Brandon Ingram, player points. So, like, when I would literally wake up every weekend, open up all my sportsbook accounts, FanDuel, DraftKings, ParlayPlay, just like right here, hit these fucking arbitrage bets all day long, make money. So give it a try. I mean, do a free trial of OddsJam, see if you make money. I can guarantee you, if you put in the work to actually try, most people are lazy. If you put in the work to actually try, you will make money with this product very easily. You just need to have multiple sportsbooks. You need to know how to navigate the sportsbooks quickly. And, you need to put like 5 minutes into understanding the concepts of what you're doing. Parlay play, it takes a little while to see results, right? Like, I've placed 457 bets. I'm up $5,000 profit, over 5,000, and they only have a max bet size of $60, right? But again, there's no arbitrage on parlay play because you can't place straight bets. It's parlays only, So it takes a little longer. You have to have more of a belief in data. Whereas arbitrage betting is literally just making risk-free money due to discrepancies on sports books. You pull up DraftKings, you pull up Fliff, you hit this for 250 on Fliff, you follow the arbitrage calculator, bet it at 65, you will make a risk-free 425. Fliff moved it. You can see it's already a little worse from minus 350 to minus 360. So it got a little worse. But again, it's free money. Like, you're going to make a risk-free 425, period. End of full story. You just made 425. You're 425 richer. Again, on these parlay-only sports books like ParlayPlay, it takes a little, more time to have faith in the system and just data in general, because you're still not going to win every bet. You're not going to win every 6-pick parlay. You won't even win 20% of your 6-pick parlays. But anyways, we'll call this live stream a bit. It's been long. So we'll call this live stream for now, but hopefully it was helpful. We got down a shit ton of bets on Underdog, PrizePicks, stuff like that. And thanks so much for your time.